So we launched a course at the WP Minute, the wpminute.com/courses. And the first course is all about WordPress hosting. It's called WordPress Hosting Decoded. It's a professional guide to helping freelancers and agency owners make the right choices with the WordPress hosting that they're putting their work on, their clients' work, their clients' websites, their clients' livelihood. And this is a course that's been in the making for literally over 2 years, maybe 3 years at this point. At least our idea of shifting to courses or adding courses to our repertoire of content, it's a long time in the making. Eric and I sat down at WordCamp back in Maryland, so that was 2+ years ago, and we were talking about like what can we do beyond content at the WP Minute to make it more valuable, to make the content that we put out and the effort that we put out more valuable. And courses is one of those things, right? As we head into the world of AI content and AI training and education, one of the things I constantly think about is how, you can't just do a blog anymore, right? I can't just do a WordPress blog and write and publish. I can't just do a blog with a newsletter. I can't just do a blog with a newsletter and a podcast. I can't just do a blog, a newsletter, a podcast, and a YouTube channel. I need to do more. I need to create and complete a circle of a human connection. So you can consume our content, whether it's written in a newsletter, on YouTube, in your ears, in audio. And now you can take a course to extend that education that we're hopefully providing for you. So that's like the big strategy around it and why I'm doing that at the WP Minute. But the course is for somebody who is maybe getting started in the WordPress space as a freelancer, as an agency owner, and they don't really know anything about WordPress hosting. It's not something that, they know of web hosts. They know they need one, right? They're technical enough to be doing this stuff because, they're about to sell websites to somebody or website services or services around it. So they understand that, I need a web host. But I think like a lot of us, we get into the space, we know our favorite, shared web host, maybe one that we've used before. Maybe we're thinking like top of mind is like, what's the cheapest host we can get or something like that. And if you're not privy to WordPress community and WordPress, the inner workings of the WordPress ecosystem, it can be a painful road to learn the lessons of, my God, I just had my first dozen customers on this terrible web host that's not doing WordPress the right way, not even giving me the right customer service. How do I save myself from that experience out of the gate? Or maybe you're a veteran freelancer and you're starting to go into bigger clients and knock on the doors of clients that have particular requirements, whether that's more horsepower, better infrastructure, more reliability, custom terms of service, WooCommerce. How do you make that leap to select the WordPress host that's going to get the job done for you and most importantly, meet the requirements of your customer? And that's why we've put this together, to really help those folks. Or if you're an agency owner or working at a WordPress company and you have staff that maybe don't understand the lay of the land of WordPress hosting. I've been around the block for a while and I've worked in many different places. And, like a project manager or a salesperson, people who are maybe more like frontline to clients, like your agency or business might have your hosting all lined up and ready to go, and your engineers know it, your CTO knows it, but your frontline people, maybe they don't understand like what good web hosting is. Maybe sometimes a customer asks them like, hey, what should I pick for a web host? And you want to level up that knowledge. This course could be for you, the owner-operator who needs to level up your team, and hold that thought, because we're going to launch a bunch more courses that lean in that direction. So You could point your customer to engage in this course and learn why they should pay, what they should pay for a hosting account, all the way from shared hosting to that enterprise hosting. Level their education up. Use it as a pre-sales lever in your workflow. Level up your team. Have your team go through it. And when you get new hires and new members of the team, they might be skilled coders, but maybe they just don't know what they don't know about WordPress hosting. And obviously we know there's some intricacies there. So that's why the course exists. So the WPMinute.com/courses. Some other cool stuff around that is I made this cool little WordPress hosting calculator, and it helps you understand how, like, if a customer is asking for certain requirements or has certain requirements for a project, it's just a way to sort of like jog your memory and say, oh, okay, if the customer's got a lot of storage, they require a big database, they require high availability, they require e-commerce, as you're punching those into your project calculator, it's telling you where you should start to look for hosting, like what type of hosting you need. Managed, shared, dedicated. We don't point to any one web host as like the choice at this course, right? This is a free course thanks to our sponsors, which many of them are WordPress hosts, but we don't point to any one. This is all about like strategic thinking. It's about looking at WordPress hosting as a critical way to experience WordPress. And that's why you want to make the right choice. Because what we found, and I think if you've been in the WordPress space for over a decade, you probably know that when people complain about WordPress, I'd say that, once you get over that initial learning curve of WordPress, and so long as somebody's not complaining about that, I think a lot of people start to complain about maybe speed, performance, security, too much stuff in the dashboard. And what we found is, that's really, it matters where you launch that website. It's like where these people are getting WordPress to begin with. And that's why hosting is so critical. It's not just, can you get the cheapest, fastest, best? It's not just, as an agency, how can I profit from hosting and be transparent with my customer? But how does that impact their experience with WordPress, which means, 5-10 years after they have, maybe stopped working with you, they continue to support WordPress, which means the longevity and sustainability of WordPress improves. This is something that spans, beyond you just building a website. So again, check it out, the WPMinute.com/courses. Hey, if it's not for you, recommend it to others, share it on social media. That would be fantastic. Just a couple other housekeeping things that I want to let you know about, because I do launch a lot of stuff. At the end of the day, I feel like, I'm not doing enough, but then I look back at the body of work and I'm like, damn, I did a lot. So allow me to pat my back for a second there. Kurt Von Onen and Toby Crines, they've been co-hosting the WP Minute Plus over the summer. Summer's no longer here. It's now the fall. And we've moved them to their own podcast. So if you want that deep dive into agency ownership, what it's like day to day, the positives, the negatives, the grind, the success, their new podcast is called Agency Action. You can just search Agency Action wherever you get your podcasts. I'll link it up in the show notes here, or go to the WP Minute, click on the podcast link, and the WPMinute.com, click on the podcast link, and you'll find subscribe links there to the Agency Action podcast. Kurt Von Onen, Toby Crines, fantastic show. If you want the inner workings of what it's like to be an agency owner, check that out. Bunch of podcasts have gone out since the last time I've posted here. One very popular one is with Ian Meisner from Kestrel WP, which is a WooCommerce shop. Again, available at the WP Minute. Just click on the podcast app. If you're already a subscriber to the WP Minute Plus, you'll get that podcast episode there. Fantastic stuff. And just a host of other things that we've been talking about, AI and SEO with Lindsay Halsey. Fantastic episode again with her. Eric Karkovac has been interviewing folks about accessibility and being a freelancer. There's a ton of content over at the WP Minute, so don't miss that. And I will leave you with one more call to action. I'd love to win the WP Weekly Awards this year for 2 years in a row as the #1 rated podcast. I'll link up the WP Weekly Awards link in the show notes. It's not going to be for this podcast, Matt Report. Sadly, nobody threw that into the ring. Nobody threw my YouTube channel into the ring, too, which was a bit disappointing with 20,000 subscribers. But the WP Minute is certainly on the WordPress podcast list. So if you're voting for nothing else at the WPweekly.com/awards, vote for the WP Minute. It's section 22, WordPress podcast. Let's get WordPress podcasts up in the rankings of priority here. Search for the WP Minute on that page, the WPweekly.com/awards. Drop a vote for the WP Minute. I greatly appreciate it. Until next time, you're listening to the Matt Report. I'll see you in the next episode.